Welcome back to part 2 of chapter 3 section 1, dividing multi-digit numbers, something that is designed to make even adults cry. It's a wonderful topic. You guys pause the video and solve the problem on the screen on your own. Let's see what you come up with. Alright guys, did you get the problem right? Let's take a look at how I did it. First off, the first number always goes in the house. Always goes in the house. So, I've got 50 divides into 8,090. Say 50 goes into 8 0 times. You don't have to put that 0 there, but it's a good placeholder. 50 goes into 80 1 times, and 1 times 50 is going to be 50, and that's going to leave 30 left over, and we're going to bring down that 9. Next, 50 is going to go into 300. Well, that's going to be 6 times, and if you're not sure on that because you're dealing with big numbers, do what I suggested before. Scratch out the last number. How many times does 5 go into 30? It goes into it 6 times, so 6 is going to be the number I'm going to want to start with. And 6 times 50, that's going to be 300. And when you subtract that, you have 9 left over. Bring down that last 0, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Now, 50 goes into 90. How many times? Just once. 1 times 50 is 50, and that leaves 40 left over. Now we're going to have to annex in the decimal, and the decimal goes up. Annex in the 0, the 0 goes down. How many times does 50 go into 400? Should be pretty easy, but if it's not, in your mind, scratch out that last digit and say how many times does 5 go into 40. That one you should know is 8, so we're going to take and plug in an 8 up here. 8 times 50 is 400, and when you subtract that out, you get 0 left over, so our answer is 161.8 for your final answer. Easy math. Now we're going to test our answer. 161.8. Hit check answer, and our answer checks. Now we're going to step up our game even bigger. Now we're going to divide a 4-digit number by a 3-digit number. And that sounds really complicated. Don't let it scare you, because if you use the scratch out rule I've showed you, you're going to find it's really easy. Now rather than blow your brains by showing you all the stuff they did, actually that's not terrible. I'm going to take and do it by hand, and then we'll go back and look at what they did afterwards. So I'm going to start off with what I have here. Of course, first number went in the house, 5,287. The second number, 340, is outside the house. This is our divisor. The number inside the house is a dividend. And we can say, well, how many times does 340 go into 5? It goes in 0. Like I said, you don't have to put that one. How many times does 340 go into 52? It goes in at 0 again. Well, how many times does 340 go into 528? Well, 300 times 2 is going to be 600. So I know that it's got to be a number less than 2, so let's try a 1 here. And then 1 times 340. When I take and subtract that out, you can do some borrowing maybe. Let's see, 8 minus 0 is 8. Yep, got to do a little borrowing here. It become a 4 and a 12. 12 minus 4 is 8. And then 4 minus 3 is 1, so I get 188 left over. And bring down this 7, and this is where things start getting kind of ugly. Now, remember that little scratch out trick I showed you? We're going to use it here. Let's start off with this. I'm going to scratch one number off the end of each of these. Now I want to say, how many times does 34 go into 188? Guys, that's still hard for me. So let's try instead, let's take out another digit. And I'm going to say, how many times does 3 go into 18? 3 goes into 18 6 times, so 6 would be my starting point. But I'm thinking that 6 is not going to be the answer, because 6 times 3 would be the 18, and 6 times 4, or 40, that's going to push it over this. So instead of 6, I'm going to do 5. 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 4 is 20, 5 times 3 is 15, plus the 2 from the 20 is 17. I think I made a good decision. Do our subtraction here. 7, 8, 187 left over. Now we're going to annex in this decimal. The decimal goes up, annex in a 0. The 0 goes down to give us 1870. Now we're going to ask ourselves again, well, how many times is 340 going to go into that? I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same 5 again, because 5 times that's going to give us 1700 again, just like we had last time. And when you subtract that out this time, you're going to end up getting 170 left over. Well, we're making progress. And about now we start getting into the really frustrating part of long division, and that is that you don't know where it's going to end at. It just keeps right on going. We still have a remainder of 70, so I'm going to take and annex in another 0, bring that 0 straight down, and that's going to give me, wait, 1700. Haven't I seen that someplace before? Well, surely I did. 1700 was there, 1700 was there. I'm at the finish line. So I'm going to take and put in another 5 times 340. That's going to be 1700 again, and when we subtract that out, we have nothing left over. So our answer is going to be 15 and 55 hundredths. We're going to come back over to our document. You can see they showed their work just like I did. 15 and 55 hundredths. Check our answer, and the answer checks beautifully. Alright guys, once again it is going to be your turn, only now you're dividing a 4-digit number by a 3-digit number. Pause the recording, work the problem, and then I'll come back and work it with you. So, did you get the right answer? Let's find out. First off, the first number goes in the house. 8100 here is the first number, that goes in the house. The 144 is the second number, it goes outside the house. Now, this one's a little bit different for how I'm going to work it. I'm going to say, well, instead of trying to break it down into single-digit numbers, I'm going to go into double-digit numbers. I'll show you what I mean. First, 144 goes into 8 0 times. It goes into 81 0 times. It does go into 810, but I don't really know how many times. So what I'm going to do is, in my mind, I'm going to scratch out these 2 digits. And in my mind, I'm going to take that 14 and I'm going to make it a 15. Because 15 is something I know the multiples of. I can do 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. Uh-oh, 6 is going to be too many. So instead of 6, I'm going to try and do the 5 to see if that one works. So let me get rid of my imaginary things there. I'm going to do 5. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 4 is 20 again, plus 2 is 22. And then 5 times 1 is going to be 5, plus the 2 from the 22 is going to be 7. And when I subtract that out, I'm going to get a 0 and a 9 left over. And now we're going to take that 0, we're going to bring it down. Now remember earlier when I did those 15s, I said, well, let me scratch out 2 numbers here so you can see what I'm saying. Those 2 are gone. I'm trying to put 14 into 90. Well, I know that 15 would go into 90. Let's see. 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. That's going to be 6 times. 14 is less than 15, so I think I know exactly what I need to use here. I think I need to use a 6, and I'm going to say 6 times 4, that's going to be 24. 6 times 4 again is 24, plus 2 is going to be 26. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 2 is going to be 8. Now we're going to subtract that out, which means there's going to be some borrowing here. That one will become a 10, that one will become a 9 and an 8. 10 minus 6 is 4 is going to give me 6. 9 minus 6 is going to give me 3. So I'm down to 36 being left over. Now we're going to annex in a decimal and a 0. The decimal goes up and the 0 goes down, taking us to 360. 144 is going to go into that 2 times, and that will end up giving us 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times 2 is 2. So we subtract that out, and borrow again. That's going to give me a 5 and a 10. 10 minus 8 is, whoops, wrong number, 2. And then borrow again, and then 15 minus 8 is going to be 7. And the cat's messing me up here. Alright, so now we're at 72 left over. That means it's going to be time to annex in another 0 and bring it down. And I'm going to go back to my little rule I had before. I'm going to say, well, scratch out the ones on the end, and then I'm going to say, well, how many times does 15, rounded that up, go into 72? Well, that would be 4 times, which would be 60, but I'm thinking it's going to be 5, because I'm not doing 15, I'm doing 14, or actually, I'm not even doing that. I'm not doing 150, I'm doing 144. So let's try 5 here and see what we end up getting. 5 times 4 is 0. 5 times 4, I'm sorry, is 20. 5 times 4 is going to be 20 again. Add the 2 from the previous 20. 5 times 1 is going to be 5, plus the 2 is going to be 720. And now we have a terminating decimal. Our answer, 56 and 55 hundredths. Go back and plug it in, if I can find a place to do it. 56 and 55 hundredths. Check our answer. Uh-oh, we did something wrong. What did I do wrong? Hold on. Do you see what I did wrong? I miswrote. I had a graphical error. I changed that 2 into a 5. So it should actually be, my math was good. I'm going to be doing 56 and 25 hundredths. Now I'm going to check it, and our answer checks well. And now it is time for one of those lovely apply problems. The table shows the number of cookies donated to the school bake sale. The cookies were placed in bags of 1 dozen. Gee, that sounds important. 1 dozen right here, that's the same thing as saying 12, right? So let's take and highlight that, because I think that's going to be an important thing there. And they want to know how many dozen cookies are going to be available to sell. So, how would we approach this task? What we would write in here? Well, I would approach the task by adding up all the cookies and then dividing it by 12. And that's going to tell us how many bags we're going to have. You pause the recording and do that, and then we'll come back and check the answer. Alright, first thing I'm going to do, add up my cookies. I have 125 chocolate chip cookies. I'm good with that. Oatmeal, which is short for oatmeal raisin, which is short for a criminal act. If I want to be good, I'm not going to eat a cookie. Don't put fruit in my cookie. And don't trick me from a distance. They seen that big old plate of oatmeal raisin cookies thinking they're chocolate chip from a distance, only to come up close and find out somebody was evil and put fruit in my cookies. Don't do that. Anyhow, moving forward. Peanut butter cookies, 245, and sugar cookies, 116. Add those numbers together. That's going to give me 16, carry the 1. It's going to give me 10, 14, carry the 1. And that's going to give me 546 cookies. So that we're going to circle. It's not the answer, but it is an important sub-answer. From here, we're going to take 546 and we're going to divide it by 12. We're dividing all the cookies into bags of 12 cookies. 12 goes into 54 4 times, which is going to be 48. Subtract that out, you get 6 left over. Bring down the 6. 12 goes into 66. Uh-oh, we're going to have some cookies left over. I'm going to eat some cookies. Goes into that 5 times, which is 60. Subtract that. Whoops, wrong number. That should be a 6 there. Annex in your decimal and your 0. Your 0 goes down. Your decimal goes up. 12 goes into 60 again. 5 times, which leaves you 60 with 0 cookies left over. So, how many bags of cookies will you have? You're going to have 5.5 bags. Or you're going to have 5 bags, or it can be 45.5 bags. Or you're going to have 45 bags, and Mr. Reach is going to eat those other 6 cookies. And he'll be happy about it. Now, the book says, since you cannot make a partial bag of cookies, how many bags of cookies are you going to have? You're going to have 45 cookies. That means, yes, indeed, even the book agrees that Mr. Reach gets to eat 6 chocolate chip cookies. There's our correct answer. You guys have what you need to start on your homework assignment. Be sure to be showing me good, high-quality supporting work, just like I show you. You've got to give good supporting work if you want to get credit for doing your homework. Y'all have a good day.